Welcome to the Peaceful Plate podcast. I'm your host, Eileen, and you are either listening to this right on the Peaceful Plate or you may be listening to it on my YouTube channel. I'm Food Freedom Yogi on YouTube. So if you enjoy learning through audio, you're going to like the podcast best. If a combination of audio and visuals are kind of like how you learn and take in information best, you're probably going to like YouTube. You can also find me on Instagram at Food Freedom Yogi, where I share additional resources, information, and just like little practices that help me in my daily life. I'll share to my story. But today, I actually want to share with you a practice that I do quite often throughout my work week. It's a little bite-sized practice, a little yoga snack, if you will, a practice that's going to help you to regulate your nervous system. So if you are someone like me who can tend to feel overstimulated, pulled in multiple directions, ungrounded, then you're going to love this practice because it's really going to help you. And I've intentionally made it just short, sweet, and digestible. So it's something that you can actually start to apply to your daily life, doing it as much or as little as you want. Of course, as always, please listen to your body. If anything does not feel good to you, then stop the practice and do not do it. But if it feels good and it feels grounding and it feels nourishing and regulating for you, then yeah, continue to do the practice and really nurture and nourish your nervous system. So last week here, I talked about the power of the pause. And so if you listen to that episode, you'll know why this practice is so incredibly important, because that's what we're doing. We're going to pause. We're going to take a moment to really give our nervous system that hug and find ourselves in that ventral vagal regulated state when we come towards the end, or at least moving in that direction. And so if you did not listen to the last week's episode right here on the Peaceful Plate, or maybe you're listening on YouTube, I do encourage you to go back, give that a listen, get a little bit of an understanding of why pausing is so important. And if you did listen, we're going to dive right into it. I do encourage you to make sure that you have at least 10 minutes of quiet to yourselves. So you want to make sure that you have a quiet space where you can really focus on the practice, where you're not going to be distracted. So of course you have to have an electronic open, right? Because you're probably listening to it on YouTube or, the podcast. So you have to have an electronic out. Otherwise, I'd say put them all away. But you'll have something out like that. But other than that, really making sure that you are not going to be distracted, that you have a quiet space, and you can focus on the practice. So you're going to want a chair. I have my little swivel chair on wheels, so hopefully I don't go like rolling off on you. But you're going to want a chair. And we're going to want to be able to have our feet on the ground. So this is a practice that I do throughout my week, during my weekday. So when I'm sitting in my office chair, then I can just have my feet right on the floor. And I'm going to invite you to place your hands on your thighs. So maybe your feet are touching the floor beneath you. You're feeling the firmness there. You're feeling your hands resting on your thighs. Maybe you notice the texture of your clothing, or if you have shorts on, just noticing the texture of your skin. Begin to notice the seat beneath you. Begin to notice the organic rhythm of your breath. Your body is always breathing. Notice if it's hanging out in the upper breathing space, the chest area, maybe the middle breathing space, or maybe it's deep in the belly, the lower breathing space. So simply notice, without judgment, from a place of curiosity, where your breath is hanging out. Maybe you notice your tongue resting in your mouth, your lips pressed together. And if your eyes are open, maybe you can allow your gaze to be soft. Or if it feels okay to you, I invite you to close your eyes and just listen to my voice. Of course, you can peek your eyes open at any point if you're watching the YouTube and you're curious about what I'm doing. So again, noticing the floor beneath you, noticing the firmness, noticing the seat beneath you, noticing the texture beneath your hands. Notice the length in your spine. Observe your organic breath and where it's hanging out. Notice if it has any pattern, rhythm, or consistency to it. Feeling your lips pressed together and just your tongue resting in your mouth. Noticing if there's any tension in your jaw. Again, just observing. And then we're going to go and take one of our hands and place it over our heart. The opposite hand, you can place it on your belly. We're going to take some deep belly breaths together. So before we do that, again, feel your feet on the floor. Feel the firmness beneath them. Feel the seat beneath you. Notice the length in your spine. Notice your organic breath. Notice your lips pressed together. Tongue resting in your mouth. And when you're ready, go ahead and gently draw a breath in through your nose. You want to bring that breath nice and deep into your belly. So you want to feel that hand that's resting on your belly. You want to feel that rise. And then as you exhale, the breath can either leave out through the nose or the mouth. Feeling the hand sink. And when you're ready, you're just going to take another breath, just the same. Inhale, bringing that breath nice and deep into your belly. Hand rises. And as you exhale, the hand falls. And maybe you visualize any tension leaving your jaw. And go ahead and take another at your own pace that may be different from mine. That's totally okay. I just simply want you to notice when the breath comes deep into the belly, the hand rises. When the breath leaves the body, let the hand sink. This simply allows you to know that you're breathing deep into your belly, which activates your parasympathetic nervous system. If for any reason having the hand on the belly does not feel good to you, you could always leave it on your legs, leave your hands on your legs. But simply think about really bringing the breath deep into the belly. You can even practice that now if your hand was on your belly and you're just curious about how it feels, to now bring the hands onto the legs and take the same breathing rhythm. Feel free to do that and explore. Notice if it felt easier and more accessible to direct the breath with the hands there. Or if there's something about removing the hands that makes it feel more accessible. Approaching it all with curiosity, releasing judgment. Continue to take those rounds of breathing where you're bringing the breath nice and deep. And then when you feel ready, if your hands are still on your belly and chest, you can remove them and bring them down to your legs. If they're already on your legs, just staying there. We're going to place our palms so they're facing upward. And again, I want you to notice the floor beneath you. Notice the firmness of the floor. Noticing the seat beneath you. Noticing the texture beneath the backs of your hands. Noticing your organic breath. Notice your tongue resting in your mouth, your lips pressed together. And just taking a moment to pause. Just taking a moment to be still, to be right here, right now. And I invite you to stay in this place for as long as feels good to you. You can always come back to just noticing the points of contact, noticing the rhythm and consistency of your breath. And you can always come back to taking those deep belly breaths. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. If you enjoyed this, definitely subscribe because I will be doing many more little bite-sized yoga practices for you to help you just regulate your nervous system and move into that ventral vagal parasympathetic state.